Do you know who you are? How do you identify yourself? Self-realization, and why must I self-realize? Step 1, self-realization. What is self-realization? Because you're a baby, you're in a seed, and so you have to come to that realization that you are the baby of the primal light, right? And the seed have to come to know its potential. And then once you activate, you can grow and grow and grow and be like the tree. You can be like the tree, and you also can bear fruit. The seed must realize its potential. Ignorance obscures the true nature of the self, and the mind has taken on a false self-identification. So is that you have to self-realize. I self-realize. I realize I am a baby primalite with full potential. I realize I am participating as a character in a dream of my own creation. I realize that the self, the soul, is the real self and not the ego. The ego is just the mind. I realize I am the supreme in this fractal form as a baby self. I realize I am the participant in a dream of my own making. I realize the self fractalize and manifest the spirit, the personal self, taking form as a human being. I realize the spirit is asleep behind the mind and must be awakened. I realize the self is longing to be free and boundless. The spirit must merge back in union with the self for the self to be balanced and in harmony. I awake the sleeping self, the God in me. Awake, awake, awake. Oh, oh, sleeping self. Arise, beloved self, the great I am. I awake to my truth. I awake to my true self. I invoke my soul's blessings and light. I invoke my higher self, the witness self, my primal guru self, the dispeller of ignorance, the knower of consciousness. I am not this body. I am not this mind, this ego. I am not this body. I am not this mind. I am not this body. I am not this mind. I am the luminous, pure consciousness. I am Brahman. I am the Supreme Self. I am Primalite. I am that has no name. I am that can't be explained. I was never born, so I can never die. I am deathless, timeless, boundless, limitless. I am the eternal truth. I am the eternal self. Om. Om. So once you make this chant, and I prefer if you write it out in your own handwriting. Write it out in your own handwriting, so you connect with it. You say it, and then you at the end of it you say ah, and you say ah to seal it within yourself and to reprogram your cells and reprogram your mind. And why must I self-realize? Because the self is obscure behind the mind and is not in awareness of itself, or its other self, the soul. Because of this ignorance, the mind has risen up as the false self, the ego, and has taken precedent over the self. The self has made a duality of itself. It has split itself into the soul and the spirit. The spirit is obscure behind the mind, hiding. Right? The spirit is hiding behind the mind. The mind is in unawareness of the spirit, the self. And so the mind is taking precedent over the self. And the self is sleeping. So this is what you have to come to realization about. So now the soul is longing to be a whole balanced self. So self-realization will allow the self the spirit, to come to know its real self, and must merge in union back into the soul. The soul is longing to be free and boundless. So this is the reason why self-realization is so important, and that is step number one. So I want to thank you very much for joining me on self-realization, the first topic of our book, and the 5 steps to be in liberation of the soul. The book is called Soul Seed, and you can click the link below to get your copy. Please like and please share, and please leave a comment and tell me if you like the video or not, if I explain things clearly for you, and if there's something else that you would like to be clarified. Okay. So thank you again so much for joining me. And our first step today was step 1, self-realization. And why must I self-realize? Yes.